I would have thought it was obvious that we do not live in a meritocracy. Our Prime Minister is a man whose previous professional experience is being a failed PR man. Our Chancellor had no experience on taking office besides spending his inheritance. So perhaps the world of business is a meritocracy. As the song says, they looked at my postcode and asked me to speak. It was then I decided my prospects were bleak. But what is a meritocracy? Who assigns merit? The word meritocracy originates with Michael Young, the author of the 1945 Labour Party election manifesto, one of the founders of Which? Magazine and of the Open University, and of course the author of The Rise of the Meritocracy. This is a dystopian novel written in the 1950s and set in the 2030s. The point of the novel was to contrast meritocracy with egalitarianism. A meritocracy was never meant to be seen as a good thing. A meritocracy was predicted to reduce social mobility and increase inequality. This may sound familiar to those who follow politics. Ironically, one of the mechanisms Young predicted to bring about his meritocracy was grammar schools and the 11+. This is ironic because grammar schools have become all but extinct and, as a result, social mobility has radically declined. Although grammar schools obviously still allowed advantages for middle-class children, they also allowed even the poorest to clamber to the top of society simply through academic aptitude. The only schools with the same prestige now are public schools. The merit required to reach the top now is measured in money, not in aptitude. A further flaw in meritocracy is the implication that merit is morally right. Someone meritorious, by implication, is also morally upright. It is therefore misleading to refer to people who have attained a position through complicity and conformity as meritorious, even though they are meritorious by the standards of the system in which they live and operate. None of this is to say that I disregard individual merit. A position should be given to the person who is most suited to it. However, this system has two specific flaws. Firstly, merit is not generally objectively measured. Most jobs, certainly at the bottom level, can be done by almost everyone, but job interviews are insisted upon to give power to those who operate them and to allow them to appoint people like themselves, and frequently people they already know personally. This is nepotism. This had particularly become the case due to the weakness of the education system. GCSEs have become ubiquitous, with those without 5 of them at good grades being rare. Most young people now even go to university. A piece of paper attesting your competence was always a weak way to tell if someone was most suitable for a job, but it was much stronger than the current method by which human resources professionals employ people based almost entirely on social factors. Secondly, a meritocracy provides an excuse for those at the top to pull further away from the rest and to increase inequality. They pretend they deserve all they have and more. They take what they want, often illegally or dishonestly, and feel no guilt because they have been places on the top by meritocracy. In a more egalitarian society there is less inequality. Hard work is unavailing, for there are only a certain number of positions at the top, and people working harder only provides more competition for those positions, rather than increasing the average wealth of status of the population. In fact, people willing to work harder increases the supply, but not the demand, for labor, thereby reducing the going rate and impoverishing people who live on earned incomes. So we do not live in a system based on merit, but we do live in a system similar to the original definition of meritocracy, and that is not at all a good thing.